Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Professor Tom Berry. I will be your instructor for SOC 212, Sociology of Race, Class, and Gender. I look forward to meeting you and working with you throughout the course of the term as we kind of dive into this area of looking at understanding inequality, understanding systems of privilege and domination, the relationships between the two, and as we kind of investigate the sociological perspective on these various inequalities. I find that the class is incredibly informative, interesting. It ties into historical events, contemporary events. I think there's a lot of value that comes out of the course content. Students, in my experience, really appreciate the structure of the class, the focus of the class, and gain a lot of perspective throughout the course of the term. And I hope that happens for you as well. So the goal of this video is just to give you a little bit of background about the course, introduce you to the layout of the course in Canvas, and go over some just general ideas in the syllabus, course format, these kind of things, just to make sure you have a smooth start for the class and that we're all good and ready to go in our first class meeting on Tuesday at 8:15 in Cascade Hall, room 117. So that's kind of our focus. Okay, I'm going to go to share the screen here. You go into our SOC class, SOC 212. Of course, yours is going to look a little bit different than mine, but yours will appear something like this. And in week 0, all the course materials, there's no textbook for the class. All course materials are provided within Canvas or links to sources outside of Canvas. And I find that this is really useful. I've taught this class many years ago using a textbook. And one of the challenges for me with the textbook layout, well, a couple things. One is oftentimes it would start off with here's sociology, here's the field of sociology, here's research methods, which is totally fine. But then I'd kind of go down into pathways of chapter 1, African Americans, chapter 2, Native Americans, chapter 3, Asian Americans, like kind of going through this kind of pathway. And I don't know, I just found that approach in talking about and exploring a sociological perspective of race, class, and gender actually does a disservice to understanding the intersectionality of a lot of different dimensions of our identities and our experiences. And it doesn't allow for a space for including a greater understanding of historical and contemporary perspectives at a deeper level. So over the years, me and others in our department have put together a list of readings, podcasts, things that just accumulated over the years that we find are really meaningful for this particular topic and for students. And I hope you find that is the case as well. But anyway, all the materials out there. There's no textbook. Here's just like a little description about the class. Here's a little bit of background on me. So if you want to find out a little bit about my biography, kind of where I came from, how I got into sociology, it's just a fairly short write-up about that. And here's, of course, where this video will be. Here's the course syllabus. Let's kind of go there. Just real quick. I'm not going to go through all the different parts of the course syllabus, but just highlight a couple of different things on the syllabus. I'm going to let you know that, the office hours are there. But I am available for you, before class, after class. I can't remember if I have a class at 10:30, 10:45 on Tuesday. I think it's later in the afternoon. But I'm available to meet, meet in person, meet in Zoom. I'm here to help support you in the ways that I can. So I am as a resource, both for things going on in the class, but if you run into some challenges just about, life is getting in the way, it's getting really challenging and you're struggling and you're just looking for some resources and some support, I'm here for you as well. Here's the course description. Basically, we're looking at intersections of race, class, gender, and other dimensions of our identities and looking at the relationship to more macro level kind of things. It's the integration of the micro level and the macro level. So we're going to address historical, contemporary social issues, problems, perspectives on thinking through race, class, gender, and other systems of advantage and disadvantage. Ultimately, our goal in like a social science class is to approach understanding the social world in a more analytical perspective, trying to understand human behavior is the ultimate goal. understand patterns of human behavior. And what is the point in doing that? I would say is to help, if we understand things better, we're in a better position to address social problems and social issues. If we understand human behavior, the complexities of it better, we are more able to humanize ourselves and others. And it's just, we live in a society that's a very richly diverse society with richly diverse histories. So understanding human behavior in a much more analytical perspective prevents us from going down to places that may be based on a lot of biases and assumptions and those kind of things. Part of it too with social sciences is to foster personal growth and development, greater appreciation and understanding of oneself and others. And that's kind of like the general kind of goal that we're after. You can kind of read through our general learning outcomes, looking at the intersections of different aspects of our identities. Sometimes we're going to be, taking on different perspectives, looking at things through a sociological perspective as an alternative to the one maybe that you hold. Different authors may approach things in different ways. So alternative perspectives, divergent perspectives, and sometimes challenging your own perspectives of how we think about or how you think about social forces and social groups. And then we'll kind of get into, sociological theories and perspectives. I mean, part of developing analytical frameworks, ways of thinking, is developing an understanding of theories and how they apply. All right, so then you can kind of go through, here's the basic format of the class. We have weekly assignments. I got to change that. There's more than 6. I believe there's 9. There may be 8 weekly assignments. I need to change that. So anyway, there's a weekly assignment that goes then for each week. I'll show you in Canvas, but sort of the layout of the weekly assignment. But a weekly assignment that's 2 parts. One is a lecture component, and then the second part is usually podcasts and or articles that are posted. And then there's a film that you're going to review about halfway through the term that when we get into social class. Attendance and participation is an important part of the class. I'll talk about kind of the policy in a few minutes about the policy about attendance and engagement and what to do if you're unable to be in class. And then we're going to work on this assignment. This will be a staged process. It'll happen over a course of a few weeks, starting, I believe, on week 6. It's called the Matrix of Domination assignment. This will make sense after the first week or two. But the main theoretical model that we use in understanding systems of privilege and domination are this matrix model. It's a theoretical framework, or it's a framework of understanding. And we will unpack it the first few weeks. We'll work with it throughout the course of the term. And then you're going to be working with others and working independently and also working with others, building a matrix of domination model or visual representation and description of the model itself. So that's what's going on there. And then we have a midterm and a final. And the midterm and the final, I see them as more summative, like here's where we've been, let's kind of review. It's never, and these are take home, so they're not in class objective, true, false, multiple choice questions, those kind of things. It's more like, for facilitating understanding, in my perspective, for sociology requires engagement in material, reading, reviewing, writing is the way of demonstrating not only understanding, but it's a way of learning. And so anyway, so the midterm and the final are more meant to be reflective and reinforcing what we've learned versus trying to be difficult or hard. It's just an opportunity to learn, master material. Okay, so in the syllabus, you find all this different information that may be useful to you. So read it as you want. So it's like there's this information about Canvas, resources, places to go. If you have questions about technology, the final exam policy, it'll be due by the final exam due date and time. But if you have questions about final exam, like you're looking for, I don't think it's students can turn in this class can turn in the final exam all the way up until the final exam date and time. And they release it during week 10. So I don't know why there'd be a problem in terms of like the student asking for a different time period, because you have built-in flexibility there. So I don't think that applies, but anyway, it's there for other classes maybe. Class recording. So if you are going to record, you need to let me know to get granted permission. Students' responsibilities, rights and responsibilities. If you have a documented disability, or disabilities. There are resources on campus for you, contact information there. For looking at non-discrimination policies across campus, while your experience here, contact information, just important resources for you to know and be aware of. Title IX, gender equity, in terms of your experience while you're here at COCC, information available to you there. There's also counseling services available to students. I think that's important for students to be aware of, free counseling services. And, you know, it's like having a life coach for a period of time if that's important and valuable. And it can be for sure. So there's contact information there. Principles of community, you know, trying to develop empathy and understanding, engaging in dialogue versus dispute, respecting the vantage point and perspectives of others, challenging each other for sure, but doing it that way that is not devaluing others. So we adhere to or support the principles of community. Safe zone training for LGBTQ plus individuals and community members, supporting allies as well, and training available to students, to all students. And then there's basic needs resources that are there as well for a host of resources, food, housing, resources. You know, just if you find yourself like, man, I'm really struggling with things going on in just sort of life, it can be a great resource for you. All right, and here's just information about all those different assignments. Okay. Oh, then the last thing here, a couple things. One, plagiarism. Do your own work. It's so frustrating whenever it happens, and I think most often if it happens where a student is summarizing information and they're taking information right from a text, a source, and they're not giving quotation marks or source citations, that's plagiarism. You need to, you know, put things in your own words as a way to demonstrate understanding, and it's a way of learning. So there's a policy about plagiarism and what happens if work is being plagiarized. And so always just put it in your own voice, using your own words, your own explanation. And then classroom expectations, basically be engaged, be involved, be flexible, or be respectful of others in the classroom, be involved, be engaged. Yeah, voice your opinion, voice your perspective, and being respectful of others is kind of the general idea. And I'll talk about sort of the policy, a couple other policies about classroom in a minute. Anyway, so, and here's the class schedule. So you find this in the syllabus, the class schedule, but also in Canvas, it is laid out in Canvas. And I think in some ways, probably, I guess, would be most students navigated through Canvas. If I were to go back to the class, you see this class schedule format. You just click on, I mean, like week 1 to go to week 1, but let's just go to week 0. We're kind of working through. Here's all the information. Go to week 1, and this will be these open up at certain dates and times. Yeah, I provide each week. I provide an overview. If there's a lecture video, it's there. PowerPoint along with it. The course materials for the week, and then the prompts for the assignment for the week are there as well. And actually in week number 1, there is no assignment due. It starts on week 2. So anyway, that's kind of the consistent format. So one thing I want to do for going too far is weekly assignment requirements. And I just kind of provide a little bit of an overview. And after I finish up this video, I'll actually attach that there. Let me kind of go to a different week. I actually put it in week number 1. So you'll find this out there, and it'll be under, I'll put it under that week 0 spot. So basically, it just kind of goes over what the assignment requirements, the weekly summary requirements of reviewing the lecture video and the content that we're addressing. So I'll just kind of read through a little bit. So I just say here, like, look, you know, our lives get busy sometimes. Things get in the way. You know, you're cruising down the road. Things are happening. Things are just bebopping. Life's going well. Then all of a sudden, whoa, man, something happens, work, personal life, whatever it is, right? It just, you know, something becomes difficult, prevents you from doing what you want to do, need to do for class. My approach is, focus on the quality of the work that's done versus like the strict adherence to a due date. At the same time, we can't have like everything due, like somebody, waits until week number 8, 9, 10, turns everything in. Like that's just not helpful from learning the material either. So my approach is one of providing some flexibility with some requirements to that, or some steps in that process to help ensure that you're staying on track, and that I'm here to help guide you and support you in the ways that I can, and to honor and respect the class and other students and the work that they're doing in the class as well. So built-in flexibility, but with some responsibility too. So if a bump does occur, keep me in the loop. I don't need to know like the reason why. Like for example, if you're unable to attend class, if it does come up like, oh, I can't be in class for reason A, B, or C, let me know. Send me an email. Communicate with me. That way I kind of keep track of what's going on in terms of students. If a student is missed a lot of class, starts missing class, then we start looking for, is there a different way? Can we meet? Like what's going on? Is there a way to meet, in Zoom or other environments, just to make sure you're getting the material, and that I'm getting an understanding of your understanding of the class information. So keep me in the loop, contact me. You don't need to let me know why you're not there, but let me know about, that you won't be in class. Here's my plan for the assignment. Here's my plan for the next week. I'll be in class next week, or I won't be in class next week. And then I can determine from there, like how to maybe respond. If I knew you're going to be gone for a couple of weeks, then probably set up some Zoom meetings, and where you can communicate information about the class and the readings and that kind of thing. If that's if that doesnn't overwhelm you, depending on what's going on in your life right then. So the key basically is communication. It's up to you to start the conversation. So let's say you're unable to be in class in week number 3. You don't send me an email. I don't make note of it come week. So then, there's 10 points for attendance and participation each class period. You don't turn the assignment in that week. 25% off for the assignment being late, and then 0 points for the attendance and participation for that day. And then week 6, you say, oh, Mr. Bear, I'm sorry. It's like, I forgot to let you know. It's like, well, that's part of the responsibility, is to let me know when things are happening. So it's really your responsibility to let me know, and then we can work together to make things happen. Okay. So that's kind of the idea: built-in flexibility, and support from me, but some personal responsibility and integrity for you. And as you can see, for the weekly assignment, I've kind of morphed into this, teaching these remote-based classes, and then teaching in Zoom is kind of, just figuring things out over the course of time, different things. So what I've moved to now is giving students multiple choices. Like, there's not, one size doesn't fit all. Different people approach things in different ways. So I give you choices and options for how to approach the assignment. So in the first part of the assignment is a review of the reading of the podcast and the other supplemental information. In each weekly module, I provide the reading prompts, and I'll go back in Canvas in a minute and show you that. But in the reading prompts, so you can either choose to, well, I'll just respond to the prompts. I provide all these different questions that kind of work through the content of that podcast or the supplemental information. So you can just do that. You could actually just summarize the information. So if it's a podcast and I list 7 different questions in the prompts, and you look over that and you go, you know what, I'd rather just summarize. The key takeaways, key points, key ideas, and summarize kind of what you're taking away from it. Totally good. You can take that approach. Or you can create your own approach. Those are the 2 that I thought of. But if you have another way where, sometimes you go, you know what, I'd rather just engage with Tom with a discussion about this content. I'll come to his office hours, 20 minutes, have some notes, come in and just chat about it. That works for me as well. Sometimes if too many students do that and it creates a problem for me in terms of time management, I might just say, well, we can't, we'll address that. If that becomes a problem, we'll talk about that as a class. But anyway, if you have other options, feel free to go down that pathway. Regardless of what option, always put things in your own words. It's going back to that idea of plagiarism. Just, it's just, communicate your understanding, and it's a way of learning is through writing. So if you're just taking words from somebody else and putting them there, you're not demonstrating. It's not helping you learn. And my job is to help facilitate learning. Okay, so that's the first part, is over the content, and then there's the lecture scene. If there's a lecture for the week, there's lecture themes that I provide. So in the lecture, I'll usually provide, 4 to 6 themes, and then there's content in each theme. You can do option number 1. I do provide prompts for the different themes, so you can respond to the prompts. You can take notes as you go along, take notes over, each theme, like theme 1, just take notes. Or if you have another option, summarizing, key ideas, whatever it may be. Then you can kind of see the pattern here. The idea is reviewing information. So however you want to approach reviewing it, that's totally good. There's take whatever works best for you. Just be thorough and diligent in your review, and all is good. All right, so last thing, we're almost there. The layout of the class. Here, for example, here's each week there'll be these prompts. I've listed the assignment requirements again. The prompts look like something like this. Here's the lecture themes and prompts. See if I can make that a little bit bigger. So yeah, this is like one approach, right? You can go through and you can address each of these different prompts. You can provide a summary or something else as the summary of each theme. And then here's for the article. And the article's posted in there, some questions about the article. You can respond to the prompts or provide summary. Let me kind of go back out. And then each week, there's a spot there. Sometimes I'll put additional articles or information in there, but that's where the information is. So anyway, that's it. Look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, and hope you had a great spring break. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. And if you have any questions, let me know. If not, see you on Tuesday. All right, take care.